Well, you're right guys, here I am sat in my new greenhouse. It's in the shade, it's not so much of a greenhouse, more of a somewhere for me to do things. Anyway, I digress. Today I have for you beer battered cod, triple cooked chips, mushy peas and tartar sauce. Now I was thinking how to do this. Do I do it so we end up making it so it's a whole meal? No, what I'm going to do each bit in turn. So I'll do the mushy peas, then we'll do the tartar sauce and move along and bring it all together at the end. And that way, if you need to see just one bit of it, you can refer to just part of the video. Right. Okay then, so we'll start off with the dish that takes the longest, mushy peas. About 2 to 3 hours it can take. Marrowfat peas, I had trouble tracking these down, they're not as popular as they used to be. To be honest, I've not bought any for a while. So about 100 grams of the marrowfat peas, 500 ml of water, and 1 steeping tablet which comes in the packet. I think there was 3 in there. If you haven't got steeping tablets, or if you're using your own peas, you can use a teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda. And we just bring the peas to the boil and simmer for about 10 minutes. Trusty old phone timer there. Here we go then, a bit of education for you. Do you know what marrowfat peas are and why they're called marrowfat peas? Well, marrowfat peas are peas that are allowed to dry naturally in the field, and that's why they're called field peas in America. 100 odd years ago, the Japanese introduced a pea called marrow, M-A-R-O, and they wanted plump ones, fat, so they were called marrowfat peas. There you are. And after they've been simmering for 10 minutes, we're just going to leave them with the lid on for a couple of hours. You could leave them overnight if you were doing this a day before. When you're ready to use the peas, you're going to drain and strain and give the peas a really good rinsing. You want to get all that bicarb off, really. And then back on the hob, 300 ml of water, and bring to the boil again. And this time you're going to cook for about 30 odd minutes. Just a low heat, but do keep an eye on them and give them the occasional stir. They will catch if you're not careful. And lo and behold, all of a sudden you will have mushy peas. Well, to make tartar sauce you need mayonnaise. So for the mayonnaise we need 2 egg yolks, a neutral oil like groundnut oil, some lemon juice and a quick twist of salt. So separate your eggs, you want 2 egg yolks, into a mixing bowl. Ideally you'd have a round bottom mixing bowl for this, but mine's flat bottom. So what I'm doing, I put a little folded up tea towel underneath just to lean it to one side so that things flow to one edge. Quick whisk just to get the eggs moving, and then in with a teaspoon of, well, I'm using Dijon mustard, any mustard will do, and get that incorporated. You can, of course, do this in a food processor. The trouble with that is you can't really feel what's going on. You can't feel is the oil going in properly. Little blitz of salt, not too much. Some people add that at the end, but I like to get it in there. And then we start dribbling in the oil. Now, when I say dribble, I'm talking a drop at a time to start off with. Just a drop. 1 or 2 drops. That's all you need. What you're trying to do is introduce the oil to the eggs. If it goes in too quickly, it will split. So a little bit at a time, little bit, 2 or 3 drops, 3 or 4, and then gradually build up. And slowly you can have a little gentle stream. And more and more and more. Hard to explain really, just get on and do it. But like I said, when you're whisking, you can feel it. You can feel the mix getting thicker. And once you feel the mix getting thicker, you know you've cracked the... hey, no pun intended. You know you've cracked the worst of it. And there's not much chance of splitting from now on. Occasionally just change your wrist action, you know. And now you see we're getting there, mayonnaise consistency. So oil goes in a little bit quicker now. Like I say, groundnut oil, neutral flavour. Some people put, you know, groundnut oil with a little bit of olive oil as well, but I'm not sure what I'm going to be using this for apart from the tartar sauce. So I'll make too much, so some will go in the fridge. Lasts about 2 weeks in the fridge. By which time your wrist is aching. And once your mayo is as thick as you like your mayo, you add the acid. It can be white wine vinegar, but I'm using lemon juice this time. About a tablespoon overall. So a couple of splashes. You'll notice when you put your acid in and you whisk it in, the mayo turns pale, just like a proper colour mayo, I suppose. And the obligatory taste test. That'll do for me. Oh, lovely. And like I say, I made too much, so I'm going to keep some in a jar. It'll last for 2 weeks. Okay then, so we have our mayo. Now let's convert it into tartar sauce. So for this we need to add loads of finely chopped ingredients. So a tablespoon of cornichons, tablespoon of shallot, tablespoon of capers, and a tablespoon of dill. Little bit of splash of lemon juice at the end, and I was going to put more mustard in, but it didn't need it after I tasted it. So let's get an edge back on the knife before we start. And straight on with the cornichons. Little mini gherkins, that's all they are really. Then the shallot. About a tablespoon. I didn't need the whole shallot actually. Then the capers. And finally the dill. Love the smell of dill. All into the mayo with another splash of lemon juice. Give it a mix up. And again, I made too much, so some in a jam jar in the fridge. Again, it'll keep for 2 weeks, and the rest I put into a little tub for later on. On with the chips then. So a couple of decent sized potatoes, cut them into chips. Or is it French fries? No, these are chips because they're quite thick. I did a video on this back in May 2020, so I'll put a card up the top right there. So this will just be a very, very quick skim through. So lightly salted water, boil potatoes, drain the potatoes and give them a shake just to rough the edges up a little bit. And then into a cool oil. I say cool, we're talking 130, 140, 120, yeah, 130, 140 Celsius. And you want them to just take on a bit of colour. And at this point, you can let these cool down, put them in the fridge and leave them. Yeah, they'll keep for a couple of days in the fridge, or even longer if you freeze them. There we are, ready to store. So what I'm doing, back in the oil with the ones I need to use. And the oil this time round is 160 Celsius. And even with the cold chips, these cook in 2 to 3 minutes. And where you've roughed the edges up on the colander, you get nice crispy sides to the chips. As you can see, as you can see there, look, little brown bits. Well, moving swiftly along, we're up to the beer batter already. 125 grams of plain flour, teaspoon of baking powder, give them a quick whisk, and in with a cold, and you want cold beer, it's got to be cold. You can use any beer of your choice, but I'm using Spitfire this time from down Kent way. And just mix enough to make a thick pancake batter. A little bit more. It doesn't matter if there's lumps in it, it adds to the unique character of your fish. And it really is that simple. And you want to use this as quick as you can. You want the batter to stay cold. And you'll notice I've got the fish ready to the left hand side there. And fish up next. Well, here we are then, the star of the show, the beer battered cod. You need to dry your fish, a bit of kitchen tissue will do that. Dredge it in the flour, shake any excess flour off and give it a really, really good dunking in the batter. Use tongs. If you use your fingers, you will have bold spots on your fish where the batter hasn't stuck. Then into the hot oil, 180 Celsius. Lay the fish away from you so it doesn't splash. Here we go. And 6 to 8 minutes. It will be done. And with the 180 Celsius, you'll know it's done because the batter will have that nice golden colour. There we go. Well guys, I'm guessing I don't need to talk you through this. Just lay the food out on the plate as you want it. I got the cod there, we got the mushy peas, we got the chips, and we got the tartar sauce. So all that's left now is to, well, give it a taste test. Oh yeah. And this is what I was after, a nice crunchy batter. That's a double thumbs up from me, guys. That's lovely. There we have it. Beer battered cod, triple cooked chips, mushy peas and tartar sauce. Well, I'm guessing you can tell I rather enjoyed that. I'll put some little time links in the description for each individual section. And have a great week, guys, and I'll see you soon.